Today, here's a topic that spans over the past 2 days, but also 2 weeks, but also the past 7 months, but also the past 2 decades. If you've been anywhere around the MOBA scene lately, specifically Dota or League of Legends, you'll have noticed a major shift in its player base. These games, which used to be home to a community of players playing the same classic game of 5 characters on one side, 5 characters on the other, smashing against each other until the other team house falls, they're now seeing their player base move to a new genre, Autobattlers. Today on Best of 3, I'm going to take you through the whirlwind that is auto chess, and how they've introduced a new contender in esports. I'm StillJustMike. Let's get into it. From Organized Gaming, you're listening to Best of 3. If you haven't heard of Autobattlers or auto chess, let me give you the quick rundown. Much like how Dota 2 spurred off of a Warcraft 3 custom game, Dota Auto Chess is an arcade game in Dota 2. Using an 8x8 chessboard, players choose randomly given units from a shared pool, all having different stats, tribes, and classes. You level up those units by collecting 3 identical versions of them. Leveling up your units, using synergy bonuses, collecting items, and leveling up are pretty much your basic path to victory, with games taking roughly half an hour. It gathered popularity rather quickly. The game was released only 7 months ago, and now something incredible and almost completely unexpected is happening in the world of esports. Near the beginning of April 2019, Chinese game dev company Drodo Studio, who created Dota Auto Chess, which I'm going to call DAC, started posting pictures of familiar DAC characters on their Twitter. Characters that looked like strange, off-brand versions of the characters one would use in the game. Nearly a month and a half later, Auto Chess Mobile was released for iOS and Android from Drodo Studio, Dragon Nest, a Chinese development company, and strangely or strategically enough, Imba TV, a Chinese event organizer. Auto Chess Mobile uses the exact same units, tribes, classes, and systems that DAC uses, but Dota's trademark names have been changed and the designs have been reimagined. Now, it's been publicly stated that Valve granted their blessing to use their own format, so the immediate panic of, is this okay? Went away pretty quickly. However, Valve could see how popular that game had become, and they could either sit and watch their player base leave, or join the fight. When we come back from the break, we're going to go deeper into Valve's attempt to not see the past repeated, and how Riot got itself involved. All that and more when we return. Hey guys, jumping in midway here to say that if you're new here, welcome to Best of 3. If you haven't gathered already, we're an esports lifestyle podcast by Organized Gaming. Every week, we come in with new and exciting topics in the world of esports. I'd like to take a minute here to ask that if you enjoy what you're hearing, please do consider supporting us on Patreon. It really does help us afford to keep this podcast going. On our Patreon, we release bonus episodes of our podcast, as well as give you guys a direct way to chat with us about your favorite aspects of esports. To get on board, visit patreon.com/BO3podcast, that's with the number 3, and check out some of our monthly sponsorship tiers. Also, hey, we're on Instagram. You can follow us at @BO3podcast, that's again with the number 3, or on Twitter you guessed it, BO3podcast. Welcome back. Before the break, I mentioned that Valve had the option to sit or rise. Well, not only did they rise, but they did so at a speed that would make you lightheaded. Less than a month after DAC's reveal of their mobile game, Dota Underlords was revealed, with an open beta invite to anybody who had purchased a Battle Pass in Dota 2. A week after that, the game was released. It was a loud and great, but kind of a basic start. The game contained lots of different concepts and mechanics that were received with mixed results. In Underlords, several tribes and classes were tweaked. There were a few different units, items are interchangeable, and interest is calculated before the battle phase. That last one was hard for a lot of people to grasp at first. Some even thought of it as a bug, but it quickly became an interesting mechanic that was accepted in the community. With the speed at which Underlords was released, though, it became glaringly obvious that Valve was trying to get their Autobattler out sooner and make changes later. As of now, Underlords is right in the middle of constantly adding new features, units, items, you name it. They're being incredibly transparent with their game, though, stating exactly what's being worked on in upcoming patch notes. And the Underlords community is receiving everything incredibly positively, which you don't see that often in other games. It's kind of refreshing. Of course, if the relationship between Dota and Auto Chess, or even Dota and Warcraft, seems familiar, you might be able to see where I'm headed next. League of Legends. The game that has redefined itself from the old Warcraft 3 Dota spin-off title and has become its own multi-billion-dollar industry. If you thought that they were going to sit idly by and watch the times change, you've got another thing coming. Enter Teamfight Tactics, League of Legends' own Autobattler mode. In TFT, you've got even more changes. Rather than fighting copies of your opponent's board, you and your matched opponent directly face each other, making it a much more competitive and friend-centric experience. It's really good for friends. Tribes and classes have their own variety of effects. Items are fixed to the unit you put them on, but they're combinable, creating a whole grid of possible items to use. You have a whole round dedicated to taking one unit free, and the board is more of a honeycomb than a chessboard in a 7x6 pattern. Less than a week after Valve released Underlords, TFT became available to play, with Riot inviting popular streamers and personalities to try their game. TFT was a major hit, and the only decent way I know how to describe that is by community members on Reddit, where TFT has nearly twice as many members than Underlords and about 1.5 times Auto Chess's. On Twitch, Teamfight Tactics seems to consistently dominate Underlords. Just like Underlords, however, TFT was released quickly to match demand and is also being consistently updated and tweaked to meet player expectations. We currently don't have a mobile version of Teamfight Tactics like we do with Auto Chess and Underlords, though it is a topic constantly talked about. We're in the Wild West of Autobattlers, but what does that mean for esports? I'll be clear, this next part's partially my opinion. Of course, with each of these Autobattlers gaining such notoriety through established games in esports, each one of these games is now dipping their toes in the competitive scene. Let's go down the list. Drodo Studio and Imba TV, like I mentioned, the Auto Chess companies, are hosting a tournament in October this year in Shanghai with a $1 million total prize pool. Riot is hosting a Twitch streamer invitational in mid-July with a $125,000 prize pool. A lower amount to be sure, but when you consider that Riot is coming from the horizon to win Autobattler supremacy, they're swiftly and tactically aiming at influencers to convince people that TFT is the game to play. Underlords has seen its own share of success too, with similar smaller tournaments popping up within the community, and ESL One Hamburg 2019 hosting its own Underlords tournament. With Auto Chess aiming for its community, TFT aiming for its influencers, and Dota 2 aiming for its organizers, it truly is, like I said, the Wild West of Auto Chess. One thing's for sure, the Autobattler format has proven itself and will be around for a while. Even while researching this piece, so many new things are happening in the world of Autobattlers. 2 quick updates. Auto Chess will be releasing a PC version through Epic Games, and Tencent is producing its own Turbo Autobattler for people who don't want to spend half an hour playing. It's going to be more of a 10 to 15 minute kind of thing. Lots of big things are coming for this genre. For now, though, let's take another break. When we come back, we'll talk with my co-host Chizzy about where we see Autobattlers heading in esports and our experiences with them. Yeah, of course, we're obsessed too. We'll see you in a bit. And we're back. How's it going, Jizzy?
It's good. How's it going, Mike?
Not too bad. So you were here, you listened through all of that. What do you think about the whole Autobattler situation?
Oh, loaded question. What do I think in what way?
Everything.
Okay.
Tell me anything. The first thing that pops in your head.
In general, I'm actually loving it.
Mm-hmm.
I have not played a mobile game like that. Like putting so much effort and time and effort and whatever into a mobile game since what? Like, I mean, Pokemon Go. I guess I play Pokemon Go.
Right,
but
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I'm not really a mobile gamer. I've played some Candy Crush here and there, whatever it may be, but it's a great game that has me on my phone, sometimes more than I want to be.
I will say I did play the Auto Chess beta back before it even landed on the Play Store.
Okay.
Like you had to sign in through Dragon Nest's like proprietary website, and they would send you a link, and like you download it there, and like there were a lot of people playing. It was like 5-second queue times, so clearly a lot of people were interested. But I was playing that for about like 2 or 3 weeks before Underlords came out.
Yeah.
And then I switched right over to Underlords, and I haven't played a single game of what was Dota Auto Chess.
Yeah, I mean, same with me. I was playing Auto Chess like quite a bit actually, and then they came out with they split from Valve, and then they came out with a mobile version, and I played that a little bit. I didn't love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love Dota. I love the characters. I love,
Right.
Yeah, and it just didn't feel the same. It didn't have my interest like that, even though it was the exact same game, just sort of reskinned a little bit.
I will say you kind of have to force yourself to play a couple games and just kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
And it does feel eventually like a different game. It doesn't feel like Dota anymore when I play that.
Definitely.
But what's funny is like they're still rolling out the same units that they had in like when Auto Chess came out for mobile, it didn't have the full roster that Dota Auto Chess does. But now, like just last week or just what day is it? Just a few days ago, they released gods.
Right.
So now Auto Chess has gods in it.
Yeah.
I only know that because I went back on it today to see if they were still updating it, and they were.
Of course, they have to be.
They have to, exactly. And I mean, I don't think Auto Chess is going anywhere. I don't think that I shouldn't say it like that. I think that it's here to stay. I think that people are going to pick it up and people are going to play it, even with the rise of things like TFT.
So you had mentioned that regarding Reddit that Auto Chess actually has more subscribers than Underlords. Is that true?
Yeah. Right now, as of recording this, I believe the numbers were Auto Chess has around 51,000 subscribers, and Underlords has 42.
Okay, so yeah, it was the first one there. I don't think it doesn't look like it's going anywhere.
Right. Teamfight Tactics has 75.
And they were last to the party.
Yeah. Right. But again, like they have their league base, though. I feel like a lot of those people are spending a lot more time on the internet anyway, and a lot more time on Reddit and looking up strategies rather than kind of playing them out.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be part of it, but I don't know. I think that being the case, we're going to see another thing like what happened with just Dota and League of Legends in general, where League of Legends came in and they started, hitting all these milestones, and suddenly like it completely dwarfed the community that Dota had built.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was a very sad thing for Dota, a great thing for League, but I feel like already in the early days we're seeing that.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to see that happening in real time with like Teamfight. Oh my goodness! Like if you look,
Twitch.
That's exactly it.
God.
Yes. So Twitch and YouTube for the first week, for the first 3 days of Underlords being out, every single person was putting out videos or streaming about Underlords. It was Underlords this, Underlords that, Underlords this.
Yeah.
And then Teamfight Tactics comes in, and then for the past week and a half, you've just been seeing people making videos on Teamfight Tactics.
Yeah, yeah.
even on Twitch. I had looked on Twitch a couple of times, and you'd see like somewhere around 130,000 people streaming Teamfight Tactics.
Yeah.
Which, like you'd expect to be like, oh, it's probably just like one really influential person getting like 50K viewers, and then everybody else kind of diminishing after that. No, it was like several people with like 9K, 10K, 11K,
nice.
like all of these smaller,
yeah.
you know, air quotes, people.
Well, they're looking at Fortnite and being like, hey, what did Fortnite do right?
Right. Exactly.
So they like Fortnite had that influencer strategy on lock. And
Yes.
Yeah, I feel Riot is just looking at that and, you know, taking a page out of their playbook. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think auto chess is not going away. I think auto chess will stay very popular in Asia, though.
Yes.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I mean, they are an Asian company, and I feel that's where their roots are, and that's where a lot of their popularity will stay.
Mm-hmm.
Not that, you know, people from elsewhere aren't going to play it, but a majority, I think, are going to be Asian, Chinese, probably.
There is also the fact that there's a very large market over there for people who would enjoy that kind of thing. Like
mobile gaming is absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
Technology in general, esports gaming, a lot more new age stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening a lot quicker and at a way larger scale in Asia.
There are a lot more Chinese esports or esports that are bigger in China than we've seen in North America. I think in North America we have like our staples. We've got like our Call of Duties, we've got our League of Legends, we've got our Dota 2s.
Yeah.
But like in Asia, like Arena of Valor is very popular.
Even even stuff like Crossfire, which is a game that like nobody here plays,
right.
but in Asia is still a very big game. So
yeah. So I think it will still see play for sure. It'll still develop as an esport, and I think it's still going to, you know, create a lot of money for a lot of people. There's going to be, you know, large prize pools going forward. What do you think about the $1 million prize pool that MTV is posting up?
Well, I think that what Valve did is take the $1 million prize pool that they were going to put up for Artifact and moved it over to Underlords.
Oh, now hold on. So I like that your brain went to there, because listen to this. Underlords isn't the one with the $1 million prize pool. That's Auto Chess. Auto Chess has the $1 million prize pool. Imba TV and Dragon Nest, they're the ones putting up 1 million.
Right.
No, Underlords, they're going in on the what did I say? The ESL.
Yeah, that was 125.
That's right. Well, that's for Dota. For Underlords, it's only 5,000 euros, which is like 7.3 or something.
Right,
Canadian, US. You know. So I mean, the tournament scene in Underlords hasn't really been developed that well yet, but they're really, really pushing.
Well, the
Auto Chess
game hasn't been that developed yet. It feels like it came up overnight.
Yeah, it totally has.
Yeah. Even probably some gamers won't even have heard about this game yet. It's just it's new. So
people are still just hearing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's true.
But Underlords itself is everything that Artifact should have been.
Yes. Yes.
I haven't looked at Artifact's numbers lately, but I'm sure there's like 2 people playing.
Is it still active?
I'm sure it's still live. The game. I haven't heard.
I wonder if it's been like updated or anything.
No, I don't think they are putting any more resources into it. They're just keeping it and keeping the lights on, right? But Underlords is everything that Artifact should have been, and it's perfect for that. It's not a card game, but it plays like a card game.
Yes.
It's not action packed. It's very strategy based.
Yes.
It's a lot of thinking, a lot of, you know, like thinking several moves ahead, what other people are doing. And it's perfect for all those card players.
Mm-hmm.
Now the competition not only becomes Autobattlers, though, it becomes, you know, MTG Arena, and you got Hearthstone still, and, you know, so there's a lot of players sort of in a similar realm.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that'll play out, if they're able to pull any viewership or, you know, playership away from there.
I will say that Hearthstone suffered a major hit when auto-battlers like auto chess and whatnot came out.
Yeah.
From the entertainment standpoint, you saw a lot of Twitch streamers, a lot of YouTubers just make a hard pivot from Hearthstone to auto chess or to now Teamfight Tactics because it's very similar. Like you said, like it has a lot of the same concepts. Like people are going over there thinking, okay, I want to play a game where there's an element of RNG, so it keeps things interesting for my audience, and something that, you know, I don't feel is playing against me, which a lot of people started to feel Hearthstone was doing. You know, so once they made that switch, their audience was really receptive to it because they're like, oh, this is a game that I can follow because the thinking is rather similar.
Definitely.
So, yeah,
and then the characters are from franchises that everyone loves, you know, everyone knows and except Auto Chess.
But even then, they're from franchises everybody knows and loves.
Yeah.
They look different, but you know what a crystal maiden looks like.
I couldn't get on board. I don't know. The characters were just off. It looked like, you know, those like the Revengers.
Right.
Like some knockoff off-brand that's like not quite right.
I totally agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
It's like the you can't compare Dota to League anymore. Right? They're two completely separate games.
Yeah.
But the art style is also super different. You can't go from like the jagged hard lines of Dota to the soft curvy lines of League and have the same kind of abilities and make it look like and feel like the same game. Because it's not the same game. Meanwhile, auto chess, splitting off from Dota, they use the same likenesses, but they're all rounded and cartooned versions of the hard and jagged people that you're used to in Dota. And it's like, this doesn't feel like Dota, but I know what they're supposed to be, and that creates some kind of dissonance, and I don't like that.
Well, I mean, that might be influenced in part by, you know, just trying to get a game released in China.
Yeah.
They have crazy regulations up for that now, and to get a game approved for release and monetization in China is crazy hard. PUBG had to jump through crazy hoops, and they couldn't even do it.
Right.
What is it called now? Like Agents of Peace or something?
Right. Yeah.
There's no blood. Everything's rounded. There's no like gunshots. Everything has to be anti-violence. And I think they may have sort of leaned into that a little bit to make things a little bit more cartoonish and friendly.
And I mean, like with the names too, like they've changed the names slightly, but it's very, very similar to those same Dota characters. Like best example I can think of is Sand King is Lord of Sand.
Oh yeah.
So
okay,
there is that. I think Axe is renamed like Axe Red Axe or something. Like they gave him a last
they got
name.
really creative with that.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's going to be fine for new players. I think that because I know what Dota looks like, that's going to be very hard for me to enjoy and to, you know, kind of suspend my disbelief that it was a Dota game and is no longer a Dota game. I guess much like how from Warcraft to Dota 2, it's a similar kind of art style, so you can kind of get behind the characters that were changed slightly. Because like you know that Dota 2, all of the units that were units in Dota, they look different.
Yeah.
If you look at them side by side, it's like, oh yeah, right, that's what a Bloodseeker used to look like. It was like this little guy in a parka with like these screwy claws, right?
They update the models. So,
but that felt more natural. It felt like the next step. But to kind of transition away from Dota and go into auto chess, it doesn't really look right. It doesn't feel right, and that's what us North Americans are all about, is feeling right.
So okay, here's a question for you: do you think the game is too long?
Do I think that the 30-minute to 40-minute game of auto chess is too long? I
don't know. Auto chess and Underlords have a similar playtime. I haven't played TFT.
It has a similar
playtime. Yeah. So the turbo mode that they're bringing out, obviously they think that it's a little bit too long.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Bringing that out. I don't think it's too long. I think that at times there are certain mechanics that drag the game out a little bit, and it makes me feel like I'm sitting there for nothing. But at the same time, it's like sometimes I wish that I had less time to decide. Sometimes I wish that I had more time to decide. So
But-
I can't really tell.
Well, something so something that I thought was really weird when I first played an Autobattler auto chess was that you can only lose health when you can only lose health when you lose, right? You lose.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So I cannot inflict damage on somebody when they come to my board and I beat them.
Right. And so that's the
something-
thing. That's something that TFT
Exactly.
yes.
And that would speed up the game because people are losing health faster. Now, so I'm surprised when you say that TFT plays at a similar time length, right? So
I think the reason that happens is because TFT adds in kind of like an intermission in between, like every 5 or 6 games, something like that. I think it's 5. You're sent into this kind of carousel. So you have all the players sitting around the outside in an inner ring with like 10 heroes just kind of like rotating around. That's your free hero. You can get a free hero every couple rounds.
You were saying that as well.
Yeah, and so like the people who are in last, well, they get to pick first. The people who are, fifth and sixth, they get to choose second.
There's a
Third and
comeback
fourth, they get to pick
mechanic.
third. Exactly. It's kind of like a comeback mechanic. And those champions, they come with an item attached to them. So you can buy it for money, you can buy it for combining. But either way, if you get rid of that unit, you have another item to use. So some people, they pick a certain champion knowing full well that they're going to sell it and then use that item to put on. Like, so there are all these different kinds of ways to play that game, which I love about Teamfight Tactics. I think that's one thing that the other auto battlers didn't really think of, and why would they? You're straight up stopping the game to put everybody in like this little song and dance. But it's so interesting that they thought of something as creative as that, and I think that is one of the main reasons why TFT, as it is right now, is beating out all of these other versions of auto chess.
Why? Because it's an easier game to play, full league style.
That's always been League. Like
no bias here.
No bias.
Not
here.
like I'm not a Dota player.
They change up the game a little bit. Like for auto chess and for Underlords, you play chess. You play auto chess until it's the end of the game. But for Teamfight Tactics, you play a lot of chess, and then you take a little bit of a break, and you get something that might be able to help you. It gives you a little bit more time to think. It gives you a little bit more time to act. And I think that's what some of these things are missing, because you're always thinking and always trying to act. And
it can get a little repetitive as the rounds wear on. And so something to break that up, that's not a bad idea. I think a natural turbo mode
that would be really great.
But a natural turbo mode would really just be that you can take damage when you're attacking or defending, repelling. And that'll make the game go a lot faster, and it wouldn't change the game significantly in any way. So
that's true. That is true.
It'll stay balanced. Everything will stay the same. It'll just speed up the game. That was a weird thing that I saw that I thought just dragged out the game.
Right.
For no real reason.
Right.
Yeah. But that's the format that 2 out of 3 took. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I also think that, and I don't want to sound like a TFT fanboy, but honestly, I've been liking that game a lot recently. I still play nothing but Underlords, but still, TFT, I think it's a great game to play with friends. If you're sitting on Discord with other people and your teams actually go up against each other, you can talk about what's happening in real time, and you get to experience that together. Versus if you're fighting a clone, you can have situations where you both win. You both repel your lane.
It doesn't and that never made sense to me.
Yeah.
Personally, I haven't played TFT, but from what you're telling me, I really like the way that they took it. It's how I imagined it to be.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, especially if you're adding elements of RNG to the game, like you're adding in miss chance, you're adding in crit chance, with so many different units and so many different synergies, that like it's very possible for one team to miss every shot, and it's very possible for the other team to hit every shot when they have the same mischance. So it's important, I guess, to almost have these teams fighting each other in real time, because one person's got to lose and one person's got to win. You can't just say, "Oh, I got lucky," and have the person who's fighting against your clone be like, "Oh, you didn't get lucky and I beat you."
Okay, so here's another question then. Do you think that there's too much RNG for it to be truly competitive?
No, and I'm trying to think of any MOBA that had crit chance.
Right. No, not just only that, but the hero pools, what heroes are coming up for you. It's very RNG based. You may just never get the heroes that you want.
This is true, but I think that there are a lot of people who are consistently good at the game already, and that's the consistency among the RNG is what makes people actually good at this game. Mm-hmm. It is, in fact, a game of skill, because you do need to know how to play your econ game. You do need to know how to when to press RNG and when to kind of hold out for something better. I think the fact that everybody is on the same playing field and everybody can be, ahead or behind and come back or fall just as easily as one person can, move someone over to one part of the grid that they shouldn't be on. Mm-hmm. Like, positioning has a big thing to deal with it. I do think that there are a lot of elements of skill to this.
Okay.
And the amount of skill is directly proportional to the amount that you can manage RNG.
I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah.
I consistently place, top 4 or something like that when I'm playing a little bit more. But it lets me know that there is an element of skill, involved in it. Stuff that I may be gunning for certain characters and I may never get it and I still do well. Why is that? Mm-hmm. There must be other aspects. I'm managing my economy properly. I'm right. Yeah, all those things. So
they're also the people who are like, okay, I seem to be not getting a lot of these kind of units. Let's try and figure out why that is. They start looking at the other people playing, and they're like, oh, there are less of my unit in that pool that I'm going for because everybody's going for that unit. And then they make the hard switch to choose a different unit that might be a little bit easier to get, but is more powerful in the long run. So it's about managing your numbers and your statistics and all that, and that's something that RNG is it plays a part in, but is not responsible for.
Yeah. Okay. I was throwing that out there. Maybe you thought differently,
I like that.
But yeah.
No, yeah, I like going through that thought process. Guys, I think that's going to be it for our podcast. I want to thank you guys so much for listening along.
Thank you.
And Alex, I want to thank you so much for talking to me about this. It feels nice to talk to somebody else who is just as into something as I am, because God knows that nobody cares about Pokemon anymore. Anyway, guys, if you wouldn't mind, how about you give us a review wherever you get your podcasts? Higher reviews means right? Like, higher reviews means more people get to see our show, which means we can produce even more for you guys. So please take some time to maybe rate us 5 stars on iTunes or anywhere that you can rate. You can subscribe to... Actually, you know what? Before I do my plugs, Alex, do you have anything to plug today?
Yeah, I recently changed my Instagram handle.
No way.
Yes, I am now the Uncredible Hulk on Instagram. So
is it spelled how it sounds?
It's spelled exactly how it sounds. The Uncredible Hulk.
Just Uncredible Hulk.
Uncredible
you can follow
Hulk.
Me at Uncredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Cool.
So see you on Instagram, guys.
There you go. You can also follow Organized Gaming for all of the stuff that we do. You can go on Instagram at Organized Gaming. That's Organized Gaming without all of the vowels except for the O. You can also subscribe to us, Best of 3 Podcast, at Patreon at BO3 Podcast. That would be super, super helpful. Really helps us produce more episodes of this and episodes like this. You can follow us on Instagram at BO3 Podcast as well, or follow us on Twitter at BO3 Podcast. You can send us an email at
where?
BO3 at organizedgaming.co.
Oh, there it is.
That one's just a BO3, not a BO3 podcast. By the way, all of the BO3s, the threes, they're all the numbers. Anyway, I've been Still Just Mike. You can follow me on Instagram at StillJustMike, or you can follow me on Twitch, at twitch.tv/StillJustMike. Anyway, before we go, Alex, I have some words of wisdom. Wisdom.
Give me the wisdom.
Oh my God, I'm going to call them words of wisdom. All right. Listen, when you order food,
yes,
you essentially become an NPC.
Okay.
You give a quest, and you promise there will be a little bit of money reward when the quest is complete.
Definitely.
When you order food, you're an NPC. Have a great week, everybody. Drive safe. See you later.